Hello. I'm going to show you a demo, kind of my skills slash work that I've done with this game. This video will be pretty helpful in showing off what I can do. And this game was made in, I'm going to say roughly 6 months. I didn't spend every day on it. And when I say roughly, is kind of added together from time frame. So I'll just get started. First off, there's tons of scripts to this game. The only assets to this game, I guess if you want to declare them as assets, is the Steam VR plugin and maybe some of the particle system stuff. So other than that, everything is created by me. I've modeled and textured and UV'd and everything like that. That has to do with Blender to get this game made. So what you see here is the updated version that's going to be coming out to Steam soon. I already have this game listed on Steam. This is called Asteroid Turret Defender VR. Um, as far as the scripts go and the amount of code in this game, and if you include all the tools that I made and used for this game, it's over 25,000 lines of code. And I'm not joking about that. It's extensively huge in a lot of sections, and the scripts are just gigantic. Um, Things about this game is that it was made from scratch, so I didn't go and borrow a bunch of stuff from another game and say, hey, I'm going to put in this game. No, this game was made from scratch in those 6 months. So all I did pretty much was spend a lot of time sitting down and working on this game. Um, Things to talk about. There is so much to talk about. Uh, Tons of things that have been done differently. Object pooling was one thing I did, but I kind of modified the object pooling in a different way now versus the standard way before, which was that I had game objects. Now I do no game objects. I do draw meshes, simply because I do a lot of testing with the frame rate. The frame rate in this game is a constant thing that I check. I'm always looking at it. I'm always making sure this game runs very great. It's one of the things that I like doing when it comes to programming is to make sure that the code has to run efficiently and very much so smooth. I want the gameplay to be smooth. So as I build up with this, there's barely anything going on as far as lights and real-time shadowing because I'm keeping that frame rate as high as possible, but also adding in things very slowly. Um, Another thing to note in this game is there are 3 cameras, so the more cameras you add in VR, the more I will say that the difficulty level of keeping the FPS high becomes very difficult to do. So we have a camera from the above, and we have a camera in front of the guns. Um, what you see here is you're inside this little base area, and there is a monitor that has come down right here. You have your hands over there, and this I'm going to play this with the Oculus. This does work with the Vive as well. Um, the the gosh, there's so much to talk about when I want to show on this game, and I don't want to make this video too long. We've got things on the left and right here for pulling down that actually your hands grasp that. Interactions in this game grasp automatically. There are trigger boxes basically in tons of sections here. And when you move your hand there, there's some kind of interaction your hand will do and grasp and whatnot automatically. Holding grip buttons allows you to hold onto things instead of letting go. So will you see me actually like controlling this joystick here? Interesting thing is I'm not using my head to control anything. I'm looking around and stuff like that. You'll be seeing that. Other interesting things about this game is there's not even one single bit of Unity animation in this game. It's all programmed. So that's kind of a reason why the code has substantially jumped up. There's a lot of lerping code stuff going on between not just the animation things, but like different varies of sections of code. So That's how I'm doing interpolation and just making it look really smooth and nice. And you get all these fingers and so forth. There are bones in those as well, these hands. Um, Again, everything modeled by me and made by me, so these are not assets that are bought. You won't find these in the store. As far as the chain stuff on these actually move to, that's not any Unity physics as well. That's actually programmed as well. So I've tried to dynamically make these work very well, and they do work very well. We'll see a little bit of that as well. So going through here, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be showed off. I think I've talked about the aspect of the code in the building. It's really hard to model around this section because these files, look at the models here, they're just gigantic. They have so many things inside, I have to say, like so many mesh pieces. So this part right here, I'm going to go Alt H and kind of show here. There is just so much going on with this game, really, that you can see that I have just spent lots of time just modeling, and it's difficult to kind of work around some problems like building to the frame of the base, and I still do it. I just, I keep going. And so you're going to see this vending machine that's absolutely awesome, that it fits this space perfectly. So as well as everything else that's in here. Keeping an eye on the models, verts, also the frame, the faces, the tries, stuff like that. Just looking and polishing little sections of the entire game. It plays very smooth. It plays very smooth while streaming, while recording. To try to bog this computer down, I can use the editor with Unity. We could have Blender open. We could have, I know Blender doesn't really have much, Visual Studio, and we even have this mirroring program of Oculus here, and push play. So we're going to try to bog down the frame rate while recording too. And I know this will bog down the frame rate. Okay, the Unity engine, I should say, this editor, takes up a lot of power, and that really bogs down the frame rate. But I do have a compiled version, so we can see how smooth it plays and so forth. So to get right into it, because there's a lot to show, let's just go. Let's just push play here and kind of talk about the things. So I'm going to do a full screen here, and then I'm going to push spacebar. You can see there. So starting out with the game, oh wow, this got fogged really quick. My poor headset was just starting to get fogged up. I turned on the controller models. Let's back out here for a minute. And maybe we can use the mirroring program to actually demonstrate that this is a little bit better on the mirroring. Now there's a lot of wall of text here that kind of goes over stuff, and don't get discouraged by that when you go to play this game, because it's very well made. So I'm going to be making a tutorial about going all over this stuff, but let's jump into the shooting gallery. And this update is going to be coming out, I don't know, probably a few weeks from now. There's a lot going on. So right here you can see me rip my hand up out of this and break the chain links. And then here's the chains here. So there's no Unity physics going on with this. This is all me just moving that with code. And they're pretty well to do. I mean, you won't see them doing some kind of malfunction, which is really good. You're not going to see any bugs in this video because I've polished everything just beyond belief, really. So again, these models of these controllers are turned on for now just to show you how well the hands wrap and move with everything that I've done. So I've taken all the time to actually make the these models. Sorry if you don't see something. It's really hard to mirror with the VR and what I see. So these models wrap, or should I say the hands like they're made to the models. So your thumbs are supposed to feel where your thumbs are. Your fingers are supposed to feel much where your fingers are. I've spent that entire time. So if you imagine without these controller models, when I turn them off, my hands are there. I'm turning them on so you can see them. So as I move my hand through this base area, we can see what looks like things interacting automatically, which is really just beautiful. This is what I like. So as I move my hands to grab something, it's already grabbing it automatically, and I just hold a button to not let go. So I can move my controller anywhere I like. You can see how well these things are programmed as I move my controller here. See, it's only taking the aspect of what went to rotate there. Same as right here. And picking up things as well is the hands are mirrored completely. So I strive for that perfection really. As we see here, opening these doors, so I can show again, going down, going up. It's very easy to do. When you move your hand near things to interact with automatically, they're kind of demonstrating what you can do and can't do, such as these buttons here. So we can lower our shields and look around, and whoa, there's a lot of asteroids around here. So this is the gallery mode, I think it is, for playing. There's going to be some spaceships and stuff added in here too to just shoot around at. We can see our rocket launchers, we can see our Gatling guns, and we see this joystick. Now, this joystick is probably the highest feature of this game, considering there's a lot of other cool stuff. We have slow motion, you can see here, and I can activate that just by pulling down on this lever, and you'll hear slow motion activated. And I can move around here and go ahead and start shooting. I should turn on the sound, by the way. And you can actually, there's a ton of stuff going on at the moment. So again, I'm going to show that. There's a ton of things going on in slow motion. Just about everything is, even the controller movements, just about everything is affected with slow motion. The only things that I think aren't are the button press itself. Let me turn on audio real quick. So I'm going to turn off mute audio here, see if we can hear something. Okay, so there's a 3D map, or a 3D radar, excuse me, down here too. The 3D radar will actually show asteroids when they're coming at you. There's none coming at us in this mode. We can see where my hands are moving this thing. We have left, right, back, forward, and this all comes with a sensitivity setting right here that you can change very easily. You just move your hand up or down and just move back, and then you can get your sensitivity that you want. There's a lot of detail here. So they grab automatically. I just move my hand there and it grabs automatically. You can see that my thumbs feel, they're pretty much exactly the same spots. It's very, very well done, I think. So if I hold onto these grips, I can move my controllers anywhere I want. I can move back, forward. It's very easy to now move around. And if you imagine your hands being in the same place with this joystick, you can actually imitate with the joystick the way it's supposed to work, pulling back, pushing forward, turning, and also you don't turn your wrist or anything like that. You just actually move the joystick like as if you're turning. So let's say I want to start shooting, I'd push my triggers on the Oculus controllers, for instance, and you can see even the buttons when I push them. I'm going to show you on the joystick. The fingers are touching the triggers as well. Same as with rockets. You can actually see my fingers touching the buttons. So there's a lot of detail into this. Another things that happen, the features with the Gatling guns, is not only do we move them ourselves, let me turn the sensitivity down a little bit, but we have, like, when I hold the triggers down, they wind up, and they have wind down. You can also separate between guns, whatever you want to do. as I'm moving, the shooting goes to the moving, so you don't see anything glitchy here. This is actually shooting straight out of the gun. And what you're supposed to keep up. Sorry, it's a little loud. What you're supposed to keep an eye on is this frame rate. So looking at the frame rate here. You see that the frame rate maintained a solid 90. A solid 90. So this is not with game objects. This is draw mesh stuff going on here. And there's a ton of bullets going out. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of bullets are out in space. Okay, so there's that. The Gatling gun also heats up. We'll see the end of the Gatling gun. You can see it heats up, and the Gatling gun has a recoil. So as you watch the base, and you feel that in the controllers too, this haptic feedback. Reloading the system is pretty easy. You just move your hand over to where you need to grab ammo, push a trigger, and it's in your hand. And then just open one of these doors. You can't put the ammo where it won't work, obviously. I've programmed that too, so. So let's go back to what else the Gatling guns do is they have muzzle flash. They have these shell casings coming out. They go out in space. And this is all, again, with slow motion as well. So you can see smoke coming out. You can see muzzle flashes. You can see bullets with little smoke behind them. And the bullets just come out freaking straight, fast. I mean, it's just awesome, right? It's very awesome. Also, we have rockets. Homing rockets, right?
Rocket launcher empty.
Another thing about the particle systems in this game is they're emitting. So I'm trying to keep one particle system. I just move it and emit at places. There's not really any instances. So I'm basically keeping everything polished as much as I can. These things come up that tell you ammo is out or near empty. You can see that the rockets, they form to your hand. I mean, everything. Everything just feels so smooth and so nice. Things form to your hand very well and feel very comfortable. We have various things to show here. Let's see. Let's talk about the monitor stuff here. We can turn the monitor on and we'll see it drop down from here.
Monitor on.
And this is actually from the front of the guns. I can turn the shields on.
Increased shields.
And while we have increased shields on, we're in basically this space where we can just shoot, take less damage, and actually see what the action is in front of us. If I turn the monitor off, we can't really see anything, but we can rely on the radar if we have to.
Monitor
on. So we also have some other features that are really nice. Is up here is turn on lasers.
Activate lasers.
And you can see that the lasers help us to accurately shoot down something. So you're going to have to get used to, if you're playing this game, you're going to have to get used to changing the sensitivity to what you want. Obviously for low, for far away. And for up close, you could change the sensitivity up to high and easily get to where you need to. You'll see as I shoot things too, these asteroids. Let me turn the...
Monitor on. Shields.
As I shoot them, you'll see little hits on there. So there's a lot going on. A lot of cool stuff. We got health bar here, points bar. Then we have this vending machine here. This is a new thing, so you won't see this yet, but you'll see it soon. If I push my hand here, the machine comes up, and you can see as I do this a couple times. You can hold my hand here, by the way. There's a lot going on. This light coming on and off. This machine comes up, and it just comes out very beautifully. I've been programming stuff for this. We have the buttons that you can push. Don't do anything yet. Door opens, and we've got a power up that you're going to be able to put there for the Gatling guns. So let's go to some other features with the game here. These little buttons. Turn on targeting system.
Activate target system.
Now when I move towards an asteroid, it locks on. And sometimes you'll get a sound of target locked. I used to have it play it all the time, but then it gets kind of annoying here. So as I move this, it automatically locks. Now you can get away from the lock
Target locked.
by just moving away. So you have about a second and a half, maybe, I think,
Target locked.
before it moves away. And it's going to lock onto the closest asteroid to you. So if there's two right next to each other, it's going to lock on the one closest to you first. So it allows you to shoot that one. Now you can easily get to the target you need to, or you can turn off the target system and get to where you need to. Let's talk about the rockets a little bit. The rockets, and this is another thing too, when you lock onto something,
target locked.
You can actually, if you move a little bit away from it, now it has recognized that that's something you don't want to lock onto. But if you go away and come back, it will re-lock onto that. Now, this is what I want to talk about, the rockets and the Gatling guns and the bullets. When you lock onto something, you basically are saying, hey, I'm ready to freaking shoot this thing. And the rockets, the bullets, they go into what is called a little bit faster mode. You get a little bit of acceleration. Oh, my things are empty. So I'm going to do this again. I'm going to lock onto it. And you can see there that the rockets go red and really fast. Again, let me move this down so we can see. I can easily change player height too, by the way. So if you have a kid playing this or someone with different height that it doesn't match to, you can easily get to a height you want. That's what's really nice. So let's go ahead and lock on something again. Now when I shoot, you see that this red comes out of my my muzzle flash, my smoke, the bullets. There's a lot of red stuff going on. And the gun shoots what looks like a little bit faster. So there's a lot of features on these Gatling guns that are really just really focused on. So basically my whole plan was, if this game didn't do any good, that I could at least take a lot of the well-polished code and keep making other games as well with it. So that's why I polish this stuff as much as possible. I could take these things and just move into another game, like a moving game, a moving spaceship game. This is not a moving spaceship game. This is, you're inside a base, you're surrounded by asteroids. What you're on is actually an asteroid shooting asteroids. And there's going to be a lot more being developed and coming into this game. More graphical stuff. Stuff's going to be more done, how do I say, polished as far as the graphics go. I'm getting together and starting to realize that all this stuff takes too much time for me to do. So I'm looking at assets and whatnot. But this game really right now has no assets put into it. So I go really slow. I build everything up really slow until, you get something just insanely cool and works insanely well. Let's stay down like this for a minute. Maybe we can help see. As far as rockets go, let's talk about that. So if I aim near a target,
Right rocket launcher low.
the rockets are actually looking for the closest target that they can reach to. They will try their best to reach. If you lock onto a target, though,
Target locked.
it'll know that it needs to go out there and get that target. Now, if you have multiple targets,
Left rocket launcher empty.
it's going to go to the closest one. Hopefully we can see this. I need to probably, look up. Again, like I said, it's very hard to do that in this game, in the VR, to mirror exactly what I see. I have such good view right here, and I don't know if you get the same view as I do. So we're going to move here into right about here in the center. So the rocket's explosion can explode other rockets. They also do they home into an asteroid or a target, whatever they can home into. If the target dies, they will home into the next target as well. So they work very beautifully. It's really cool, but I think the best feature in this game is probably the Gatling gun. Just because it's so cool. If you heat those up too much too, they will take some time to cool down. They will take some time to cool down. Now these things come up and they obviously say, empty or low ammo, trying to warn you. You need to put ammo in your, I guess, these devices. These things are pretty cool. They do a rotation. And you have to really kind of show this in slow motion.
Slow motion activated.
Let's wait till slow motion goes back up.
Slow motion activated.
So, wow. Yeah. What else can I say about this game? We have these warning lights that go off. Red goes around when we get attacked. Let's go play the game for real now. Okay, so we're going to go to regular game here.
Asteroids approaching.
You can see the 3D radar scan comes up too, flips up like that. It's pretty cool. Lift your hands up to break the chains, and then turn off your shields.
Lowered shields.
And we can kind of look around and see where things are coming from here. We've got something coming over there, so I'm just going to go ahead and turn on sensitivity high and rotate over here, and then turn sensitivity down, just so I can move around a little bit more accurately. I'm going to turn this one down, so I only have to turn that one down later.
Activate laser. Activate target system.
And then now I can easily target these and shoot them. So we get a warning that that's coming too close. And look at the radar here. Got one coming behind us. I'm going to turn on the slow motion so I can shoot these things. So I took an impact. I'm going to let one happen on purpose, just so you can see how smooth the ship, you can see our health right here, or the base I should say.
Slow motion activated.
I think I activated that too soon.
Right gun. Target locked.
So, pretty awesome stuff, right? You can see I also have code to check where I'm standing too. Code to detect that the controllers are set up, ready to go. Code for standing as well. So if I go out of this,
Asteroids approaching.
please stay in the center of the circle. I'm trying to keep people from running and doing things because I know they do that. They get scared and they run. So let's talk a little bit more about other stuff.
Lowered shields.
When you get hit by an asteroid, I do detect where the hit's coming from, and your base will shift depending on where you're getting hit. So you'll actually feel that a little bit of a jolt. It's really awesome, I think. It's a really cool thing in this game. Let's turn on the mothership.
Monitor on.
And, oh, hold on.
Monitor off.
Got Let's back out for a second here. You got to have focus in the window, and the problem is we have two windows here, so I have to move the window.
Asteroids approaching.
Okay, we should also talk about this time before asteroid launch. So this,
Lowered shields.
you can push up, down, left, right, or with the controller to suggest where the asteroids come from to attack the player in the VR. You can watch the player if you hit spacebar, see what they're doing. You can zoom in with Z and actually see them shooting. You can use X to back out here.
Mothership approaching.
Or you can even call in the mothership itself. Now we'll watch from this view, and then I'll play against the mothership. So player died really bad. The mothership has rockets, a Gatling gun, cannons, and a door to fling an asteroid at you. So, plus it has those little baby ships that come out. You could see that. It's really just cool to attack the person, and I'm going to add some other really cool attacking.
Asteroids approaching.
So this is in play mode now. So I can go back easily, hitting some controls on the controller. And now I'll try to play against the mothership. So, just so you can see.
Mothership approaching. Lowered shields.
So there's the mothership. Mothership has a shield, of course. Let's rotate around here.
Slow motion activated.
These little ships come out, so you gotta be ready to shoot. Now I'm out of ammo, so I'm just gonna let them fly around to show you what they do. And when you're getting hit,
Monitor on. Increased
this game is, I'm not gonna lie, very, very hard. That's why I'm adding power-ups to kind of make it so you can survive a little bit better. It's extremely hard. So if I beat it barely, then someone else is going to beat it barely too. So let's go back to the regular game here.
Asteroids approaching. Lowered shields.
And this is my Asteroid Turret Defender game, and it's just a beautiful game. I think there's not enough content, I think, so we're going to be moving on to getting more content for this. I say we as me, really. The game is $5.99. It goes on for sale every once in a while, a little bit, and you can see it's well polished. So thank you for checking this out. Let's see, maybe before I go, I want to show a little bit more. Let's go into the editor, because there's some other cool stuff. Let's turn that off. Now we saw the frame rate and everything, and I could turn off the controllers. I don't think I need to show the compiled version, so there's turning off the models to the controllers. If you want to look at code for a minute, how well the code is stacked. So this is the statics. I mean, if you want to look at anything, this is the running of the game. Things that are loaded we only do once, so there's that. Loading prefabs and whatnot, it's only done once the entire of the game. Once you do it, you don't reload it ever again. Again, I'm taking everything to account as much as possible. Everything is as refactored as possible. I refactor on the fly as I'm programming. As we go on about, let's see here, the tools, let's talk about for a minute. One of the tools is, how in the world did you get those ships moving the way they do? So it's very, I think, very well done. Let's go to the prefabs for a minute here. Create path. So I have these create paths. Let's turn that on. I create this system where I have way paths. You know, I just move some game objects out, and then in my scripting code here, I have all these things. I mean, this is something to go about even more. We have these Bezier curves, I think that's how you pronounce that, with points, the number of points between. And the way the system works for this is that it measures the distance that you've traveled along this path when you're moving. We have forwards, which is basically, well, the forward is already there automatically at each one of these dots. But we have an up as well, which allows us to get any kind of barrel roll or loop with the game's, I want to say anything that goes on this path that I programmed to go on this path. So these straight lines are where the game objects are. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 game objects that show what I created here, but then I push a button to allow these scripts to show me what the path is going to look like. So you can see the ups here, and this is how the ships stay in this loop, this barrel roll, excuse me. No, it's more of a loop. This one's a loop. They do some barrel rolls you saw earlier, but they go through this loop and they continue through this path. And if I move these up values on any one of these, you have access to change these, because what they do is the vector holder has these little points, I think it is, to rotate them. Also, you can rotate them by code if you wish, I guess, but you can see here, so you have a little bit of access over doing any of that stuff. Simply because maybe you want to do a barrel roll or something, maybe you need to decode or debug something. So you can see here that that's how that ship did its loop, and it's pretty amazing. Now, another thing about this is you saw me drag that prefab into the game. The prefab doesn't exist in the game. What happens is I wrote code that actually goes and gets every single one of these points, and it keeps the vectors. So stuff like the vector up and a vector forward, I think. Well, I think in code I have vector forward from there, but the vectors that it definitely needs is the position and the up value so that the ship is following the path correctly. So this is all taken in by a script, and then I just delete it. I just go, I don't need this, and delete it. And the game has all those points. I go in here and go down, and we can see hand animation and pathways. That's just gigantic. So this is all code created by code. I don't do any of this. I have my scripts do it for me. I just decide how the game's going to be. And I push a button in it, and I paste it. Literally just gives me, so even with hand animations, I mean, I just paste the code. I get it written the way I want and just paste it. That's it. So, and that's another reason why this game is high in the lines of code, is because we've got all of that going on. So I guess the waypoint system seems to be very advanced and very awesome. And I think that's about it to wrap up for now. There's so much to go over. I mean, we got organization of files and whatnot. Everything's organized, and I think the game is pretty well done. The longer you wait on this, the more, I guess, polished and better stuff is going to be on this game. More things to shoot at, more to deal with, more to experience. You don't have to go buy this game now and support me for it. But what I'm saying is, this is my game. Here's a demo of what I've done. And even though it's long, sorry, it's pretty freaking amazing. I think it's pretty freaking impressive, the fact to pull this off in 6 months. So, and there's so much that could be done more, of course. I've had to bake on stuff, and I could texture this better, but you got to take into account this is done all by me. Everything that's done is ridiculous amount of time that has to be sitting down, have to do. Another thing is I don't market this really, because I just sit down and I just program. I program, and that's what it is. I build and program, and what you get in the end result is something amazing. I can take this stuff again. If this game does never become anything, I can grab this code in here and keep working on this game and take things and put them in another game. So maybe a moving type flying game with shooting and stuff. So thanks for watching. I'm sorry it's probably a bit long. Have a nice day.